Welcome to our channel, Learn English with Podcast. Welcome to today's episode, where we'll uncover the secrets to mastering English in 2025. Learning a language can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Whether you're a complete beginner or looking to refine your skills, we'll dive into practical tips for improving your listening, reading, speaking, and writing. From binge-watching your favorite shows to starting a personal journal, we've got something for everyone. So grab your headphones and get ready to supercharge your English learning journey. Let's make 2025 the year you finally conquer English like a pro. But before we dive into today's topic, let's quickly introduce today's guests, Luca and Maria. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. I'm Luca, your cheerful language enthusiast, here to add a sprinkle of fun to your English learning journey.
And I'm Maria, your guide to smarter strategies and efficient learning. Today, we'll be discussing something that's on everyone's mind: how to learn English in 2025.
Exactly, English is no longer just a language. It's the key to global communication, career growth, and even watching your favorite Netflix shows without subtitles.
That's true, Luca. But learning English can feel overwhelming, especially with so many methods and tools out there. That's why we're here, to simplify it for you.
Right? We're breaking it down into 4 main skills: listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Trust me, we've got tips that'll make learning English not just easy, but fun too.
So, whether you're a beginner or someone looking to polish their skills, stay with us. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear roadmap to mastering English in 2025.
Let's dive in, Maria. Are you ready?
Always ready, Luca. Let's get started.
All right, Maria, let's start with the first skill, listening. You know, my favorite thing to do while learning a language is binge watching TV shows and movies. ?
And you're not alone, Luca. Watching content in English is one of the best ways to improve listening skills. But there's a method to this madness.
I know. You've got to watch with subtitles first, right?
Exactly. Watching with subtitles helps connect the spoken word with its written form. For beginners, it's a great way to understand accents, pronunciation, and vocabulary.
I remember when I first watched an English movie with subtitles, I was like, that's how you say that word. But what about watching without subtitles? Isn't that scary?
It can be, but it's essential to build confidence. Once you're familiar with the context of a show or movie, try turning off the subtitles. Focus on the tone, context, and expressions. You might miss some words, but you'll get the overall idea.
Great advice. And here's a tip from me: start with shorter episodes or even YouTube videos. They're less intimidating.
Now, Luca, let's talk about variety. Listening isn't just about movies or TV shows. There are so many other resources out there.
Like podcasts, for example. Oh wait, like this one?
Yes, exactly. Podcasts, audiobooks, songs, news reports, even TED Talks. Each offers a unique style of English. Exposure to different accents and vocabulary is key to becoming a well-rounded listener.
Speaking of songs, I once learned the phrase, break a leg from a song. I thought it meant something bad.
That's actually a great example of how songs can introduce idiomatic expressions. Just make sure to look up lyrics and meanings so you understand the context.
Right? And for audiobooks, start with simpler ones or children's stories. They're easier to follow and often very entertaining.
Now, Luca, here's a trick that many people overlook: repetition.
Oh, I'm a big fan of that. I used to replay scenes from my favorite TV shows and mimic the dialogue. It was like my private acting class.
That's actually a fantastic way to improve pronunciation and intonation. When you repeat, your brain gets used to the rhythm and flow of the language.
Exactly, and don't just stop at repeating. Try to shadow the speakers. Pause the video or audio, repeat what you heard, and then check if you got it right.
Yes, shadowing is an excellent technique. It helps with pronunciation, fluency, and even confidence. Plus, it's fun. You get to feel like a part of the show.
Let's not forget, repetition isn't boring if you mix things up. Use different types of content, shows, podcasts, or even funny TikToks. So, to sum up, folks, start with subtitles, listen to a variety of content, and don't forget to repeat and shadow what you hear. You'll be amazed at how much your listening skills improve.
Absolutely. And remember, consistency is key. Make listening a part of your daily routine, even if it's just 10 minutes a day.
Alright, let's move on to the next skill, reading. But first, Maria, what's your favorite TV show to recommend for English learners?
That's a tough one, but I'd say Friends. It's funny, conversational, and full of useful phrases. What about you?
I'm more of an action guy, so I'd go with Sherlock. Now, let's talk about reading. Alright, Maria, let's jump into reading. Personally, I think reading is like going on an adventure, except you're exploring a new language.
That's a great way to look at it, Luca. Reading is one of the most effective ways to build vocabulary, improve grammar, and understand sentence structures. But the key is to read what you enjoy.
Exactly. If you don't enjoy what you're reading, you're less likely to stick with it. For example, I love reading comics and graphic novels. They're entertaining and packed with useful dialogues.
And that's perfectly fine. The content doesn't have to be serious. You can start with blogs, short stories, or even social media posts. What matters is staying engaged.
Oh, and don't forget memes. They're full of idioms and slang. I once learned the phrase, spill the teach from a meme. Took me a while to realize it meant gossip.
Good point, Luca. Reading what you enjoy keeps the process fun. For beginners, children's books or simplified novels are great options. For intermediate learners, try young adult fiction or news articles. And advanced learners can challenge themselves with classics or professional journals. Now let's talk about active reading. Passive reading is when you just skim through the text. Active reading, on the other hand, involves really engaging with the material.
Like taking notes, right? I once read a book and jotted down all the weird words I didn't know. My list was so long, I thought I was writing a dictionary.
That's a great strategy. Highlight new words, write them down, and look up their meanings. But don't stop there. Try to use those words in sentences to make them stick.
Another trick is summarizing what you read. Pretend you're explaining the story or article to a friend. It helps with both understanding and retention.
Yes, and if you're reading online, take advantage of tools like online dictionaries or language learning extensions. They make looking up words much quicker.
Oh, and here's a tip for those who struggle with long texts. Break them into smaller chunks. Read a page or two at a time instead of trying to finish the whole thing in one go.
Exactly. And for improving pronunciation, read out loud. It's like practicing speaking and reading at the same time.
So, the takeaway here is to read what excites you, actively engage with the material, and don't be afraid to experiment. Reading can be a blast if you do it your way.
Absolutely. And remember, the more you read, the better your writing and speaking skills will become. It's all connected.
Speaking of speaking, Maria, that's our next topic. And let me tell you, I've got some fun stories to share. Ready?
Always ready, Luca. Let's dive into speaking.
Alright, Maria, this is the big one. Speaking. Probably the most exciting and scariest part of learning English.
True, Luca. Many learners hesitate to speak because they're afraid of making mistakes. But here's the thing, mistakes are part of the process. You can't improve if you don't try.
Exactly, it's like learning to ride a bike. You'll fall a few times, but eventually you'll get the hang of it. Let's break it down for our listeners.
First and foremost, talk as much as you can. The more you speak, the more comfortable you'll feel. Start small. Talk to yourself, describe your day, or narrate what you're doing.
I do that all the time. Like, Luca is making a sandwich. Luca is adding extra cheese because, why not? It's silly, but it helps.
It's actually a great technique. And if you're shy about speaking in front of others, start by practicing alone. Once you feel more confident, move on to talking with language partners or joining online communities.
Oh, and don't forget voice assistants. I've had full conversations with my phone. It's like having a non-judgmental language buddy.
Another powerful tip is to copy how native speakers talk. Listen to their intonation, rhythm, and choice of words. It's not just about what they say, but how they say it.
You mean like this? Hey, what's up, bro?
Exactly, but maybe tone it down a little. Mimicking accents and expressions can help you sound more natural.
I actually started doing this by repeating lines from my favorite movies. It's like playing a role in a script.
That's a fantastic idea. Shadowing is another technique. Listen to a sentence, pause, and then repeat it exactly as you heard it. It improves pronunciation and fluency. Here's an important point. Focus on fluency first. Don't worry too much about grammar when you're speaking.
Right, think about how kids learn to talk. They don't start with perfect grammar, they just talk, and it gets better with time.
Exactly. When you focus too much on grammar, it interrupts your flow. Speak naturally and let grammar improve over time through listening and practice.
Here's a trick I used. Set a timer for 1 minute and talk about any topic without stopping. It's harder than it sounds, but it's great for building fluency.
That's a great exercise, Luca. And for those who struggle with ideas, try describing your surroundings or sharing a story. The goal is to keep talking without overthinking. Now this one is a game changer. Record yourself speaking and listen to it.
Ugh, I hate hearing my own voice. But yeah, it does help. You notice things you wouldn't otherwise.
Exactly. It helps identify pronunciation issues, filler words, and areas where you can improve. Plus, it's a great way to track your progress over time.
And for the brave ones out there, share your recordings with a friend or teacher for feedback. It's scary, but so worth it. Maria, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Fear. Many people are scared to speak because they don't want to sound silly.
That's true, Luca. But remember, no one expects you to be perfect. Most people appreciate the effort you're putting in to learn their language.
And let me tell you, making mistakes is actually a good thing. I once said I am boring instead of I am bored. We all laughed, and I never forgot the difference after that.
That's a classic mistake. But it's those moments that stick with you and help you learn. Finally, try to incorporate speaking into real-life situations. Order food at a restaurant, ask for directions, or join a conversation group.
And if you're nervous, prepare ahead of time. Write down key phrases or sentences you might need. It's like having a cheat sheet.
Also, don't be afraid to use gestures or simpler words if you can't find the exact term. Communication is about getting the message across, not perfection.
So, listeners, the key to speaking is simple. Talk a lot, copy native speakers, focus on fluency, and don't fear mistakes. Oh, and record yourself. You'll thank us later.
Exactly. Speaking is all about confidence and consistency. Practice every day and soon you'll be speaking English like a pro.
Alright, Maria, let's move on to the next skill, writing. I bet you've got some brilliant tips for that.
Of course, Luca. Let's help our listeners become better writers.
So, Maria, writing, some people love it and others dread it. But you know what? Writing is like having a conversation with yourself. It's less pressure, and you can take your time.
That's a nice way to put it, Luca. Writing is a crucial skill for learning English. It helps you think in English, improves your grammar, and even strengthens your speaking ability.
Absolutely. But where should beginners start? Writing essays about Shakespeare?
Not quite, Luca. Let's start simple and practical. For instance, keeping a journal or starting a blog. Writing a journal is a fantastic way to practice. Just jot down your thoughts, what you did during the day, or even your plans for tomorrow. It doesn't have to be perfect.
I love that idea. It's like having a private space to express yourself without worrying about grammar police. Plus, it's fun to look back and see how far you've come.
Exactly. And if you're more outgoing, you can start a blog. Write about your hobbies, interests, or anything that excites you. Blogging lets you share your journey and even connect with others. The key is to write something every day, even if it's just a paragraph. The more you write, the easier it becomes.
And don't worry about making mistakes, folks. That's what editing is for. Write first, then review your work to catch errors and improve sentence structure.
Right. And try using online tools like grammar checkers or writing apps. They can help you identify common mistakes and suggest corrections.
Well, Maria, that wraps up our guide to learning English in 2025. We've covered listening, reading, speaking, and writing, everything you need to level up your skills.
Exactly, Luca. The key takeaway is to practice consistently, stay curious, and enjoy the journey. Remember, learning English isn't just about the language. It's about opening doors to new opportunities and experiences.
And don't forget to have fun along the way. Mistakes are proof that you're learning.
Absolutely. Keep practicing and you'll surprise yourself with how far you can go. Until next time, happy learning.
Thank you for watching. Your journey to better English and unstoppable confidence starts here. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep growing together. See you in the next video, champion.